Hello, agents. Hello, everyone. So yeah, today we're going to talk about 5 amazing features SPIAs offer that income riders do not offer. So let's jump right into it because that's a pretty easy premise, right? 5 amazing features SPIAs offer. It's my news and reviews for May 15th, 2025. So single premium immediate annuity, the insurance product built to guarantee income. So let's look at number 1, the cost of living adjustment. It's called the COLA. What is a COLA? Well, I love describing the COLA this way. A lot of people talk about like 4% return. Well, let's talk about a person who wants $40,000 a year, right? Well, that's great. A lot of people say, but the SPIAs, there's inflation, blah, blah, blah. Well, you can add, this one adds a 3% COLA. So every year, the payment will increase by 3% compounded. So in this case, $40,000 is the initial payment. $41,200 in year 2, right? And it goes up, up, up by 3% every year. So if this 65-year-old male in this situation lives to be 85-year-old male, he will get $70,140 a month now. So if he lives that 20 years, his 40 just became 70. So a $30,000 increase in that 20 years. So that's the COLA. There's no GMWB that's going to say, hey, if we give you 40, it'll be worth 70. No, there's not a single one of those. So anyway, that's what a COLA does. It's a cost of living adjustment. And it's best not to say I have this much premium and what would a COLA be? It's best to set your income growing at a COLA. Otherwise, it seems very expensive for what you're getting. But yeah, the COLA, cost of living adjustment. Next is the tax exclusion ratio. Now, I have seen like one FIA with a rider kind of say they have an exclusion, but for the most part, they're not taxed that way. So let's just take the best way I like to look at the exclusion ratio is through the split annuity, whereas people say, what's the difference between stripping interest? So let's look at that. If you have an interest rate of 5.95% and a $500,000 premium, that's going to kick off, if you take it monthly, $28,969 annually. But let's say you're at a 30% tax bracket, that's $8,691 of tax. So your after tax, when you subtract tax from the income, is $20,278, right? For a MYGA and a SPIA doing the same thing, stripping the interest, right? Just use the SPIA side. It's $25,000, right? You get $25,000 on the SPIA. So not as much coming out, interest is lower, but 90.6% of that payment is excluded from tax. So that's $2,378 is taxable at 30%. $714 is your tax. $25,000 minus $714 is $24,607 versus the $20,000 over here. So you can see the difference is a higher end. Now, granted, this one will have no, all the gain will be paid out. This one you'll have after, you're deferring the taxes. But we're talking about the exclusion ratio. So, and this also works the same thing on the lifetime, and we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, lifetime will also have an exclusion. And if you're using those FIAs, it's going to be excluded, and then it's going to be fully taxable forever, right? Once you run out of the premium, it's going to be fully taxable. So those things will become fully taxable way faster than an exclusion ratio on a SPIA. That's the difference. Contingent joint life, a reduction at death. So I have never seen this on an income rider. So let's take an example here. Is we have a 65-year-old male and a 60-year-old female. They both put $500,000 into an immediate annuity starting 1 month after deposit. It's going to reduce 50% upon the death of the primary, the male. The income is going to reduce 50%. The income is $27.94 and it will reduce to $13.97 at the death of the primary. However, this is a joint life with period certain of 20 years. So what that says is the annuity payment is guaranteed for the lives of both annuitants for the guaranteed period of 20 years, whatever's longer. So if the primary annuitant dies before the 20 years is over, the secondary, the female in this case, would still get the full $27.94 until the 20 years is over. Then it would reduce. Now, should they both pass away in that 20 years, the reduced payment would go to the beneficiary because it's only guaranteed for the joint life. Right? The 2 lives, the payment's guaranteed 20 years for the 2 lives, not the beneficiary's lives. So that's the contingent. Yeah, I've never seen this where, it gives you a benefit, right? So let's look at the same thing without the 20-year period. The payment jumps to $29.34. What was it before? $27.94. So you're picking up a little, but you're losing that 20 years. So should the primary die in the first unalive in the first few years, the payment will instantly reduce to this $1,400 number here, right? 29 goes to 14. So that's the difference between putting the period certain on. See, these are little intricacies that are available on a SPIA. You could really do some serious planning. So let's look at just the 10-year certain. It's $28.95. So kind of a blend in between the two. It'll guarantee it for the 10 years and then reduce. So you can do some really cool stuff. Next, we're going to talk about the lifetime income with period certain. Now, writers give you a guarantee for your life, but it's not guaranteed. If you pass away, the income stops and there's a death benefit. What immediate annuities do is they say, hey, this one for this 65-year-old male, we're going to put $1 million in. It's going to pay the 65-year-old male $5,407.21 a month for as long as he lives, but no less than 30 years, whatever's longer, 30 years or this person's life. So what does this do from day one? Let's say this person got in a wreck, died in 1 year. 29 years of $5,470 will be paid to the beneficiaries. So $1 million, as you see here, will guarantee $1,946 back, $1,946,595. So this 65-year-old makes a deposit on May 14th, 2025, knowing he gets his income on 6/14/25, but it won't end until 6/14/55, no matter what. 6/14/55 is your certain period end. Also, this client knows, heck, I just made $946,595 guaranteed. My million will kick out this much. Now, should I live to be older than that, it'll continue to pay. But this does bring him to 95. So that is pretty old. But whether he's alive or not, that $1,946,000 is going to pay out. So I want to see an FIA or any income rider where you can put $1 million in today, take the income in 1 month of this much, 6.48% payout, and guarantee no less, no matter when the person dies, of $1.9 million, 94% of it gain day one. I would love to see it. I will market it. I will talk about it. Show it to me. Doesn't exist. Contract strength in SPIAs can be non-lapsable. So it's sometimes looked at as a negative that there's no access to SPIAs. Well, that's not true. There's advanced withdrawal. Certain companies do it extremely well, whether it's fully lapsable and you get all your money back, or if you just take an advance on that period certain we discussed. The cool thing about those advances is the income kicks up again. But let's say you want a more strong contract, a more protective contract. We've seen these used for people that want to take care of a young child, a teenager, or a young adult that has maybe a drug problem, and they don't want them to have a large sum of money because they could, hurt themselves with that much money. So they buy a product that is just going to pay them the income, and they can't sell the income and they can't assign it. So what does that protective language look like? It's non-assignable. You can't assign those payments to anyone else and take money for it, right? It's non-transferable. You can't transfer that contract or those payments to a secondary market, outside of annuity, someone maybe an equity firm trying to buy those payment streams. You can't forfeit or surrender it. Non-surrenderable, non-forfeitable, non-commutable. There's no access. There's no surrender charges. There's no advanced liquidity, and they're irrevocable. You can set it up to the payee will never be changed. You can't change the payee. We can even do an irrevocable beneficiary. So all those are super strong. It protects you from creditors and all that good stuff. Maybe you can't get this contract stolen, right? They can't come in and surrender it and take all your money. Worst case happens, they come and they steal your payment stream and you're like, where'd my payments go for 2 months? Contact the company and we straighten it out. So there's no risk of all that lump sum disappearing. So very protective contract language available only in the SPIA, right? Because a guaranteed income rider, you can just send in a surrender form and boom, you're out of it, right? So anyway, those are some of the features. Those are just 5 amazing features and 6, protective languages SPIAs offer. You want to learn more? Call, click, give me a buzz. We're here to help. It's what I've been doing, literally doing SPIAs since the 1990s. So, that's what we do. Here's some important information. Withdrawals subject to 59.5. When you use a life contingent immediate annuity, there's certain rules of substantially equal payments that offset this 59. So you can start life contingent payments before 59.5. These are more for regular withdrawals. So anyway, here's some disclosures. Follow me on YouTube. If you're not watching this on YouTube, subscribe to my channel right there. And for the most up-to-date information, also follow me on X and YouTube and LinkedIn. So yeah, that's the end of my presentation. Thanks for watching. Hope you're all having a good week. But yeah, the immediate annuity, one of the most misunderstood, underused products. It pays a lower commission than most, if not all, income rider type products. Sometimes as much as half as much or even less than half as much. So keep that in mind when you're thinking about why you're not seeing SPIAs more. So anyway, no fees, just insurance guarantees here at FSD Financial AnnuityExperts.com. Thanks for watching Fixed Annuities news and reviews, and we'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.